Now you can search for new episodes by subject matter at londonreal.tv. Brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform we use at London Real. While we're on Ukraine, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Ukraine is obviously bordering Russia. There's all sorts of fascinating things going on there. I could talk all day long about geopolitics and Kiev and in Ukraine, and I thought it was fascinating to watch. I thought things like some of the guys in the square in Kiev had Bitcoin addresses like on their shields, and like the whole mind fuck you could get into as far as if someone could fund these guys via Bitcoin, like what could be going on. Like,
did you see Joe Biden's son picked up a job yesterday in Ukraine?
I just heard about that with a gas company or something there, right? Yeah, it gets really interesting. But I was just thinking, like back in the day, if the CIA wanted to support some people in Kiev, they might have to send a guy in, get some cash, get it to the right guy, But now maybe they could just send it via Bitcoin. And then I was thinking, I'll take it even further. Then maybe you could say, well, Putin's in the Kremlin thinking the same thing. I could fund them via Bitcoin. So like, there's all this craziness going on now with all these cryptocurrencies and things like that. But okay, Ukraine comes out. You guys are obviously a Russian organization funded through some entity of the government. Putin's even come out and said, yes, we're funded by Russia, but at the same time, we're objective. Abby Martin comes out and some other journalists saying they don't believe what Russia's doing in Ukraine. How do you balance all this stuff going on? What's your take on it?
Ukraine. Okay, right. Ukraine. Let me start with it comes back to the Irishness again. Yeah. So I learned what are the dynamics of an ethno-cultural conflict. I learned what that is, and I learned why it's cancerous and poisonous.
Okay. You have a unique view on this.
And then in 2003, before the Orange Revolution, I spent a year working for George Soros. I was paid by Soros to teach sociology in Lvov, in Western Ukraine.
Right.
So I taught out there.
And Soros is
I spent a year,
Western guy.
Yeah. Soros is the financier who broke sterling and is propping up financially the non Russian loyal politics in Ukraine. Basically, so he's one of the guys, one of the major financiers.
His name's been. So you worked for him back in the day.
Yeah. So 2003, I spent a year living in Lviv, and I watched this nascent Ukrainian identity, cultural identity, form, take shape, gain momentum, and watched it grow. In my opinion, somewhat naively into a very, very corrupt political environment, very nasty. I mean, if you think, like the Muscovites say, like, geez, man, you think we're bad. Years ago they said, you think we're bad. You got to see, like, the Kiev is a nest of vipers.
Really, politically on both sides.
Everywhere.
Okay.
There are no sides, like as such. But I mean, but yeah, it's just a nest of vipers. So I got a great understanding of what was going on there, and I watched enormous quantities of USAID money, education money, Muskie fellowships, that kind of stuff, go into Ukraine, and people, people living their dreams, getting to go to university in the States, coming out of like Kiev or coming out of a regional Ukrainian city in 2003. And God almighty, it's an extraordinary, life-changing event.
Right.
Very powerful soft power.
Right, funding, with some kind of ulterior motive.
Of course, I'm not. So like this is not about the individuals. This is just about the structures and kind of organizations and institutions that have been built up over the last 10 years in Ukraine, for example.
I remember the Orange Revolution.
Yeah, man. God, yeah, me too. So I felt, and like let's talk about the other side. It's just a notoriously corrupt political system everywhere. Yeah, and that's just a politically corrupt system. No question.
In Ukraine.
In Ukraine. So, talking about the Russian side, all that kind of stuff, the pro-Russian side, whatever you want to call them. So I think right now, I think it's just a proxy situation going on. I think where the Kiev has completely failed to, like the post-coup government, so Yatsenyuk and Turchinov and these guys have totally failed to speak any language of consolidation and peace. When you call people terrorists, like we call your old civilians terrorists and stuff like that, I think it's just absolutely, it's very clear that they either don't want to integrate Eastern Ukraine back into a new Ukraine, or they're idiots. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just extraordinary what they're doing and how they're just inflaming what is already a really, really crazy situation. And then as far as the Russian guys are concerned, look, I mean, that's, I don't know, man. It's like the bleed over the border is like the border is almost non-existent in terms of like the cultural bleed over that border.
There's so many Russian passports on the eastern part of that country, right?
Exactly. I mean, and I remember the first thing people told me about Crimea in 2003 was like, man, it's Russian.
Right.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah.
If you go to Latvia or Lithuania, you'll realize 40% of the population is quote unquote Russian. And,
sure.
It happens a lot on this frontier.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah, absolutely, it does.
That's hard to understand if you're from California. I think some people, even though the Mexican border is a great example. Like, look at the Mexican American south and north of the U.S. border. Like, where's the border really? But that's another discussion. So,
Well, the Mexican one was another example I was going to use. So anyhow, So what I'm talking about is right now what we're seeing, and we saw it in Ireland as well after independence, was there's this post-colonial swing, and people just like get real fucking hardline, sociologically, it just happens. These positions polarize, where it becomes where it becomes that bipolar. You're either with us or against us.
Right?
Do you know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, man. I'm neither. Right. Can't I be neither? Can I have another perspective? And and that's just, I think, that narrative, in my opinion, personally, that narrative came out of neocon America. It is a.
Well, you're quoting Bush, aren't you? After 9/11, you're with us or against us.
You're with us or against us, and perhaps and I'm guessing even like Rumsfeld might have been running that line back when he was working with Nixon in the 70s. I don't know, but to me, that bipolarity is the problem. There can't be an either or. There has to be both.
Okay, is this going to get worse? This situation?
I fear it will. Yeah, I fear it might. Yeah,
looks pretty dicey.
It looks really, really bad right now, and like the level of militarization in that society is huge. I had a great conversation with one of the guys from Espresso TV, who were the guys who famously ran the live streams on Khrushchevskovo of the burning barricades. Okay. They had like cables stretched all over the city, and these guys miraculously managed to run live broadcast of these things. They ran 24/7 for 3 months. Wow. 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anyhow, he told me we had a great conversation where we just spoke about the level of trauma in Kiev, and like it's in it's what do they call it, post-traumatic
stress disorder. Yeah,
Kiev's in PTSD.
Still, that whole city.
Come on, man.
Jesus, that square, like I don't know if people watch the detailed footage of that, but it's hard to. I mean, Jesus. I mean, that was like a proper war zone.
Yes, it was. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this guy's really well trained.
Yeah. Sorry, it's going to be. I know it looks.
So
it's a proxy war between the West and the East. I think
it is.
It's happening there.
I honestly think it's a war that's being taken to the East by the West.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that dynamic's coming there. Like, for the love of God, why does it have to be John Kerry's freaking son that is appointed to the board of directors of a major Ukrainian private gas company? Why does it have to be him? Is there no other American lawyer?
Joe Biden.
Biden. Sorry. Right. Is there no other American lawyer that could do that?
Yeah, I was surprised that they would even let that.
So it's very, very clear that that's just like, man, that Russian bear thing, like they're just playing with it, and they're just poking it and poking it and poking it.
We take real pride in our websites and who we work with on the show, and those are the guys at Squarespace. They've been running our website londonreal.tv and our siliconreal.com for over a year now, and they are an all-in-one platform to make it fast and easy to build your own professional website or portfolio. These guys have the tech down. It's drag and drop. It is easy. I used to run a WordPress site, and I used to have to FTP audio files and all this nonsense. And now when you see these blogs that I write every week where I talk to you about my personal impressions of the guests, I literally just bust those out, drop the picture in, boom, and it's done.